And that quote of the day is, if you're spending less than $20 a month for prescription drugs, great. If not, monthlyfeerx.com might be a good option for you. It is from Donald Trump. He had a halfway decent week, some ups, some downs. Donald Trump. A little moderation would be good. Of course, my life hasn't exactly been one of moderation. Gotta admit, the guy's honest. A little moderation would be good. Of course, my life hasn't exactly been one of moderation. Yeah, that's what I was saying the other day when I made a pilgrimage up to Boston and Cambridge. Now, it was my intent to park at the MBTA in Braintree, the Red Line, and take the Red Line up into the city and then across the bridge into Cambridge. Well, I didn't know. My fault, my ignorance. First thing I didn't know is that there's construction going on, and I would need to take a shuttle from Dorchester into, I guess, from Quincy into Dorchester, whatever, something like that. Second thing, do you know that if you want to take the Red Line, at least, from Braintree into the city and park your car there, the MBTA, read the state, is charging $9. $9 to park all day. Now, you might be saying, well, that's hell better than spending $20 or $40 to park all day in Boston, and I will grant you that. Unless something has changed, it's only $4 or $5 to park at the commuter rail station in Middleborough. $9. Last time I was up at the Braintree, because I used to park there all the time, I think it was $1.50, and then it went up to $3 a day. Well, it's $3 a day on the weekend now. It's unbelievable. And the T is crying poverty. Well, here's part of the problem. Here's just a little smidgen of the problem. As a group, the MBTA is more than $600 million in the red for the next fiscal year, which, starts in a month and a half, a little bit longer than that. It's $628 million. So you're that much in the hole. You rarely, if ever, make budget. How do you fix your money problems? You're right. You raise the fees. So it costs $9 to park as opposed to $3 to park. And of course, those MBTA fares, they're going to go up. How much do you think it's going to cost you now when the commuter rail eventually comes down here? How much do you think it's going to cost to park over at the Whale's Tooth parking lot? Even if you want to park there to go over to the islands. I can hardly wait. We still don't know what the train ride is going to be, one way or round trip. How many trips you're going to be able to take in a day. I don't know. Anyway, that's that. So I ended up finding a place where I could park. I found a meter, and I parked at a meter, which was, believe it or not, much more agreeable than trying to pay $9 to park at an MBTA garage. When I got into the city of Boston, I guess I should be more specific. When I got into the city, I looked for that Emerson encampment. I looked for the Northeastern encampment, nothing. In fact, Northeastern had graduation last weekend. Emerson school was out, including finals, but they hadn't reached graduation. But over at MIT in Cambridge, Mass Ave, the encampment was still going strong. That was until, I think, 4 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, Friday, when it got busted up and a few people got arrested. I guess folks can't come to an agreement. Just like the MBTA can't figure it out. Do you know that the MBTA is paying a CPA firm, Ernst and Young, and they're good CPAs, expensive, but they're good CPAs, $450,000 to consult, to do research on how transportation is and could be funded here in the Bay State. And also to look at, well, how other states and other countries are doing it. Now, pardon me, maybe this is just me. But it seems to me, if I'm the MBTA, if I'm Keolis, the operator of the MBTA, I've done that type of homework already with my in-house staff. Instead of paying $610 per hour to figure out how to save money, I've got people on staff. I've got CPAs on staff who can do that work for us instead of going out and hiring a huge, what do they call that, a Big 8 CPA firm to save us money. Now, they're going to look to see how other states are doing it. I don't know. I know the San Francisco Bay Area has a pretty good rapid transit. Washington, D.C. has a pretty good metro. But I don't know how any of the other states do it. Now, when you go outside the country, if you look at Toronto, if you look at Montreal, you look at some of the Western European nations, they do rail travel very, very well. But the reason they do it so well is it's heavily subsidized. And not that the MBTA isn't already, but what are we looking at here? Now, we talk about the governor leaving to go out of state, and she's getting taxpayer-supported funds from the tourism department, which, I guess if she's going to bring back more money, it's worth the trip. I don't know. But my guess is if we don't know how much it's going to cost us until after she comes back, how do we really figure it out? We wait until the Italians come here and they what do they call that? Press the flesh and do that with us and spend their money here. Should we expect that it's going to be an equivalent amount of money? What's your thought? $628 million budget gap for the MBTA. And you wonder why they haven't finished the platform up in Taunton. You wonder why the train isn't running right now. 508-996-0500. That's how you get onto the program today. I am just I'm fed up with it. We were talking yesterday, we being Barry and myself, we do this thing around 1 o'clock after the 1 o'clock update from Ariel. And Barry was finally coming to the conclusion that Bacon Hill lawmakers, and Congress aren't listening to the people. Now, deep down, I know Barry knows that. But to finally make that pronouncement yesterday the way that he had, I've been saying this for the longest time. They don't care because people are still going to vote them in. And then we both turn around and we say, well, what about the people? I don't think, and you can correct me if you believe that I'm wrong, I don't think that Joe and Jane really care that much about a lot of the issues that we talk about. Unless it's really smacking them in the face, they don't really care. They care about the migrant issue. Did you see the survey, the study, the poll that came out about 2 weeks ago now? Massachusetts voters aren't happy with the immigration situation, but they're blaming Congress. They're not blaming Bacon Hill lawmakers for the shelter law that we have, or for not amending it. So I don't want to say their head is stuck somewhere, but you get that feeling. You get that feeling, but more to the point, and I think it's this way with everybody. We all have our own thought process. We all have our pleasures and our angst, and we're not quite sure how we're going to make our own ends meet. That's what we're worried about. We're worried about, what time do I have to get up? Do I have to get up in the morning to go to work? Do I get up in the evening? Do I work the afternoon shift? What do I have to put up with at work? Many people, I'm going to raise my hand. I'm in the category that says, I'm a little worried right now about what's going on with Stewart. They filed for bankruptcy. No big surprise. Then the paychecks didn't come out on time Thursday. And the governor and company are saying, oh, don't worry about it. It's just a glitch with the bankruptcy filing. Really? Just a glitch. You tell that to the person that has bills to pay. Just a glitch. Can't get to the grocery store and their Mother Hubbard's cupboard is bare. Just a glitch. And here was the other thing about the just a glitch. It's a one-time thing. It's not going to happen again. Let me ask you something. If you are a nurse, or what do they call that? Medical assistant. You are a secretary. You have some other type of position over at Hawthorne or at St. Anne's or some of the other hospitals. And what is that place? I can't. They Primacare. And your paycheck didn't come on time. And the governor says, oh, don't worry, it was just a snafu. So it's all taken care of. It won't happen again. Deep down in your mind, if you get paid every other week on a Thursday, aren't you worried that on Thursday, the 23rd, that check might be a little delayed? And what happens if? What happens if that check doesn't come on Friday and you go into Memorial Day weekend without? Now you're going to be really PO'd. And not only are you going to be mad at Stewart, who has washed their hands clean of this whole thing, you're also going to be PO'd at the governor, who might be getting ready for a trip to Italy. I don't know about you, but that doesn't make me feel too good. 508-996-0500. Before we go to your calls, though, let's go to Jim, who's in Studio 6 and 7/8 with a Town Square Sunday preview.
Good morning, Brian. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jim Phillips, and here's what's happening this week on Town Square Sunday. We'll meet the organizers of the annual New Bedford Family Fest happening May 18th at the McCoy Recreation Center on Hillman Street. There'll be fun exhibits and programs for kids and a chance for parents to connect with valuable resources available in the community. Also, the Hatch Street Open Studios and Sale is happening on May 18th and May 19th. You can check out the creations from more than 60 local artists. We'll have details. And in an encore broadcast, we'll tell you about the First Citizens Federal Credit Union Community Recycling Day on Saturday the 18th outside their North Front Street branch. If you need paper shredded or a place to dump old electronics, this is the place to have it done, free of charge. Join us for Town Square Sunday, Sunday morning at 6 and 11 on 1420 WBSM, 99.5 FM.
Thank you very much, Jim. Let's quickly check the Bitcoin Biz Barometer as we measure the universal crypto marketplace. Whew. Bitcoin is down $2,044. $2,044 coming in this morning at 60,892. Ethereum at 3,106. I think that's actually wrong. It came in at 29 and change. It is down $188. Binance Coin is up $2 to $586. Solana up $1, $145. XRP is down 2 cents at 50 cents. Toncoin up $1 at 6. And Dogecoin coming in at $5 this morning. It's actually even. And that's your Bitcoin Business Barometer for today, May 11th, 2024. As always, I get my numbers from coinmarketcap.com. All right, let's hear from you. 508-996-0500. That's how you get on to Brian's Beat today. Hello.
Hey, what's going on, Brian?
Just winging my wang. How about you?
Yeah, always winging my wing. How about that?
Winging your wing. Okay. Well,
No,
go ahead and wing, man.
Yeah, I wing my wing. Yo wing, yo wang. See, we're just yin and yang over here. So, talking about like the Stewart Health issue, what I've been hearing a lot, and I think it's a lot of like a misconception, is a lot of people are placing blame on Obamacare and saying the regulations that Obamacare installed is causing this problem. And I have to take, issue with that specifically because this is a very specific issue where Obamacare, the regulations are across the board, right? The same regulations that are affecting Stewart affect SouthCoast, affect Harvard Pilgrim, all the different hospital groups out there across the country. And we don't see this being a huge issue across every state and every hospital group. We're seeing this specifically with one particular corporation. So I think this is a lot to do with mismanagement up top of this one particular corporation. I don't think it has anything to do with Obamacare or anything else. What I do find
I think it's going to lead to Obamacare.
What do you mean?
Or whatever you want to call it. I think it's going to lead to universal health care. I think that what you see happening with Stewart here is also happening to Stewart outside of the Commonwealth and many other for-profit and non-profit hotels and medical centers. They're all crying poverty, and they're looking to government for help. Eventually, they're all going to turn around and say, hey, even as a state, we can't support this. And then, boom, universal health care.
I see where you're getting, where you're going. But on this particular issue, this particular problem that we have here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I don't think it has anything to do with Obamacare. That might be a prelude to what may happen if everybody goes belly up. But the issue of bankruptcy has nothing to do with Obamacare. Because if it did, you'd see bankruptcies in other hospital groups.
I think you're going to see it. I think this is just the beginning. However, where I see you, where I'm coming from, it's not necessarily because of Obamacare, but what it's going to lead to is it's going to be bigger than Obamacare. This is going to be what Bernie Sanders has been pushing for, a universal thing where the taxpayer and governments through the taxpayer are going to end up funding. This is going to be that Medicare for all.
Right. And here's the problem that I have with Medicare itself right now is Medicare is single payer for the retiree. That's literally what it is. Medicare is single payer for 65 plus people. And back when it was implemented back in the 60s, one of the biggest pushers of that was private health industry. Why? Because private health industry knew your most expensive person that they would have to pay for is your elderly. You took them, the government literally said, you know what? We're going to leave you with the most profitable people, your healthiest individuals, and they're going to pay a premium. We're going to take the elderly people who cost you money, and we're going to pay it through taxes. And now what you have is all of the elderly people are on Medicare, and the reimbursement rate, which is why you're probably going to see a lot of doctors saying, I'm not getting into the medical field because they're not paying. Medicare doesn't pay. So they're paying, a small percentage versus what they used to anyways. So I think what we have here is socialized medicine. We have that single payer system. And as the system starts to crumble like you're seeing here in Massachusetts, you will see what you're saying is single payer. And that's absolutely insanity to me.
Well, welcome. This is just a whole part of the new insanity. This is just a part of it. I mean, you're seeing it in housing. Do you know that there is pardon me for just escaping this part of the issue. There is actually a movement underway to put teachers in housing because teachers, apparently they don't get paid enough money to afford the housing where they live. And so now there's a movement, they're going to try to get bond issues up and have housing built for them. And then they're going to all be cloistered in one particular type of place. Rent will be affordable for them, but that's going to be on top of the yous and me's having to pay for that bond issue. So this is, part and parcel of what we are seeing, a sea change in how the operation of the United States is going. Yeah, unfortunately. And it all started in the 60s with the Great Society that LBJ pushed forward with. See, I'm going to say it started in the 30s with FDR. I could say, I'm saying, because a lot of people don't even understand that the biggest driver of our national debt is not the military-industrial complex. Everybody likes to blame them, which they are a huge portion of our budget, but the biggest pusher of our debt is Medicare. Medicare and Medicaid are your biggest inflators of our national debt. And that's because we have a demographic problem where the boomers are, you're in that generation, you're going to the doctors more and you're using your medicine, you're using Medicare more. Maybe not you specifically, but that generation. That's inflating costs. And that's why you're seeing a lot of reports. I hear you, but again, if you're not on Medicare, you still pay. You're paying Medicare, plus if you see specialist, you're paying to see the specialist. So you might have Medicare for insurance, but that's just like a base. You still are paying for another form of insurance. You're paying for prescription insurance. Folks are still paying. I guess that's the bottom line. Folks are still paying for it.
And a lot of people don't understand or realize how Medicare works. I'm working right now.
Right now, we're all paying into it one way or the other. I'm going to let you go only because I got another caller and a bunch of commercials that I got to get into. But I do appreciate the call and the conversation. 508-996-0500 to get on to Brian's Beat. Hello.
Hey, Brian. How you doing today?
Winging my wang. How are you?
All right. You want to know what the problem is? Is the CEO getting $16 million a year at Stewart? That's some of the problem.
That's only, $16 million isn't that much. He has a $40 million yacht.
He's got 2 yachts. And the other thing is, not to get off on it, But the other thing is, with all these big shots head of the colleges getting in the millions every year, what a hack job that is. From politics over to the president of colleges. Oh, boy. Brian, ever great when we love you.
Thank you much. I do appreciate the call. 508-996-0500 is how you get onto the program. You know, I think we've got state colleges and state universities. I think that there should be a flat line salary. Maybe you get a what do you call it? A bump, a yearly bump. But let's say 100,000, 150,000. But you also get a perk. You get a percentage of the money that you bring in for the school, for your particular institution. So if you're going out seeking donations, because that's what many of these college presidents do, and you get 100,000, well, why not let you get 10% of that 100,000? So that would be $10,000. That's on top of your salary. That gives them incentive to go out and raise more money. And it does right for the institution. Just a thought on what did they say? 45 partly cloudy degrees. Come on, it's not partly cloudy degrees. Not even cloudy degrees. It's a cloudy day. It's a cloudy sky. But don't put the temperature into that. I digress. This is Brian's Beat, Saturday morning. Oh, I should not forget this. The United States came out with a report. I think ABC is going to let you know about it at the top of the hour, that the United States has decided that Israel has broken international humanitarian law and also U.S. law. The question is, now that you admit it, what are you going to do about it? Welcome back. So the app chat is going, and I guess I missed it last week. Couple of messages. One, Keolis Commuter Services only operates the commuter rail network. And I think that's true, but the entire MBTA is 628 in the red. And the story that I saw included Keolis within the framework with the Ernst & Young and whatnot. But I do appreciate that. And then a couple, I think probably from the same person, considering the timestamp. Brian is the worst personality you have on this radio. He always sucks at what he does. Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I do appreciate your comment. And if you'd like to call, you're more than welcome to do so too. And express yourself. Keep it clean. And also, keep it legal. Yeah. So, I was watching today a story, and then you look to verify it, and it's verifiable, courtesy of Benjamin Netanyahu. Apparently, this is how bold this man is. And the Israeli Knesset, its leaders, and many of the Israelis. So, Benjamin Netanyahu released an 8-9 page PDF of what Gaza is going to look like in 2035. How about that? You know what's going on right now. Many people are, in the camp behind Israel. I'm wondering how much you would still be in that camp if you knew what was in the plan. I saw a couple of pictures from Benjamin's plan, not somebody else trying to say, oh, this is what he's thinking or this is what we believe is going to happen. He came out with this. It is a beautiful city. I mean, you know how Boston looks with the ocean skyline. This looks better. This looks better than San Francisco. In fact, somebody dubbed it Dubai 2.0. And it's right there in the ocean. It's got an entirely brand new rail system, you know, like choo-choo train rail system. It also has a new port. And it's being dubbed